welcome to Boxing in Your Face. This week we have none other than the great Ernie Shavers. They call him the Acorn, right?
Yes, they do.
Now, Ernie, back in the days when you were a professional fighter, you were considered, if not one, but the hardest hitting heavyweight of all times.
Yes, I was. Well, got the award for being the greatest puncher ever. Put me in the Boxing Hall of Fame for that. And this is my knockout record. I think they're pretty close to it.
Okay, so yeah, you had 89 professional fights, and you had like 69 knockouts.
Yeah, I had 89 fights, 68 knockouts,
68.
14 lost, 1 draw.
14 lost and 1 draw. Now you fought for the championship twice. Now you fought back in the days when the champions were really champions. They were going 15 rounds, not 12, but 15. And you went 15 rounds with one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time, the great Muhammad Ali.
Yes, I went 15 rounds with Ali for the title, September 29, 79. I went with Larry Holmes. I got stopped in the 11th round, got thumb in the eye, September 28, 79, 2 years later.
2 years.
One day shy of 2 years.
Okay, now you were considered, again, one of the most feared punchers in the heavyweight division. And Kenny Norton, a dear friend of ours, and you fought him, and he got KO in what, how many rounds?
Well, 1 round. Ken's a good fighter, a good friend of mine, but I know he didn't like punches, so I just put pressure on him, and I took him out.
You took him out, but with a right hand, left hook, a combination, what was it?
I threw I think a uppercut, left hook, the right hand, and took him out.
Okay, he was knocked out cold?
Yeah. He went out cold. He went down.
But he wasn't able to continue.
No, he couldn't. He was, he was bad in shape. He couldn't defend himself.
Okay, now, what year was your last professional fight?
I think I had my last professional fight must have been about 92.
92?
Yeah.
We're talking about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And you don't look a day shy of when you first retired, because I mean you still look like in tip-top shape. You're pretty sharp. I don't see any trademarks on you of any real serious cut. How do you feel about boxing now that you retire? How does it feel?
It's great. I was very competitive. I wasn't a fight fan, but I was very competitive. Anything I get involved with, I like to win and do it the right way. So I trained hard. This is my trainer. It worked out well for me.
Now, you told me, we were talking last night, I was refereeing some fights last night, and you offered me some water, to drink some water in between rounds. I mean, like if I was a fighter. I told you, hey, come on, Ernie, that's for the old guys, man. Now, if I would have been duking that out, yeah, I would have accepted your water. Now, you as a fighter, you were telling me last night that you didn't even like boxing.
No, not really.
You got into it by mistake.
Yeah, a friend of mine who was trying to recruit me for a local trainer in Youngstown, Ohio, Peter told me that, and he was having me go to the gym. Told me, saw me, and said how big it was. He said, "Guy build your size, be champ of the world, make lots of money." I said, "What?" And that was that's how I got started in the fight game.
And how did you develop that knockout punch that you had of yours? Were you born with it, or you developed that?
Well,
a combination of both.
Well, combination of both. I grew up on a farm, doing a lot of hard work, doing bales of hay, coming back the week. I did a lot of tree chopping.
Okay.
They had to develop a back and leg muscle where the power came from. Then when I started boxing, Archie Moore had me go out, also got chop trees about an hour a day, 2 weeks prior to actually boxing. And he worked that perfect for me. You can tell the difference when you chop and when you didn't chop. You can tell them both. The fight was over.
Okay, now, you had your first professional fight what year?
My first professional fight was November 6, 1969.
And that was where?
That was in, I had that fight now. I think it was down in, that was in Texas. So Ohio. Warren, Ohio.
Warren, Ohio. Okay, so now, you won your first professional fight. You win by knockout or by decision?
A knockout.
And how many consecutive knockouts did you have in your career?
I don't know, probably 25, 30 maybe.
Straight knockouts?
Straight knockouts.
Okay, and then, so then when you fought Muhammad Ali, How did it feel facing one of the greatest? He was a sharp boxer, he was quick, he had the alley shuffle, and how were you able to maneuver the last 15 rounds with one of the greatest?
Well, we were good friends before I fought him. I met him in '73, and I fought Jimmy Ellis.
Jimmy Ellis.
Yes, I trained at all these training camps there. We became pretty good friends over the years. And when I fought Ali, I knew him quite well. When he tried to psych me out, I knew him to it didn't work on me. I knew that if you fought Ali and did well, and kept your name clean over the years, you would, can open those doors for you other businesses once you retire.
Okay, now, you're living here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. I see you around the boxing circle on a regular basis. Last night you were at the Las Vegas Hilton. You were there signing autographs, and you were a spectator watching the fights, and you were sitting at ringside. And every time I came back to my neutral corner as a referee, you were there with a big smile on your face. Did you kind of miss being in the ring?
You know, I'm glad I had a fight game. Joe, believe it or not, I never really liked the fight game. But it was a good way to take care of my family, provide a good lifestyle for my family and all. But the fight game really wasn't for me. But I knew it was a way to make good money. So I became very competitive.
Okay, now, the fighters, the purses that they make today, you got fighters today making 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50 million per fight.
Yeah.
Back in the days, in the golden era of boxing in the 70s and the 80s, when you were very active, there was no, those kind of purses never existed. What do you think about today's purses compared to when you guys used to fight?
Well, you know, time has changed, everything went up and everything. I mean, I feel good to get earn that kind of money. You know, we know we made that kind of money back then. I'm glad we kind of paid the way for them. Any fighter, no matter what they make, I wish them well.
Okay, now, boxing today has declined to some extent. We don't have any Tysons, any Holmes, any Shavers. We don't have Ken Nortons. We don't have none of the great heavyweights around no more. We have no good talent here in the United States. What do you think is the reason for that?
Well, Joe, I think most of the trainers died and they passed their skills along. So those guys not being trained like we were. So you're not producing the same caliber fighters.
So do you think that the trainers have to be trained?
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
In order to develop better talent, because you get some guys that come around to the gyms and train fighters, but they themselves need a little bit of schooling to get to that level to develop good talent, like yourself and Tyson and Holmes, and I mean Angelo Dundee just passed away this past week. He was one of the great ones, along with Archie Moore, who's one of the great ones, Cuzzy Amato, Freddie Brown. Freddie Brown was my trainer when I was fighting back in the 60s. Whitey Benson was also working my corners when I was fighting as a professional. You know, the great Gaspar Indian Ortega, the welterweight from Mexico that came to New York back in the mid-50s, he's the one that got me started into boxing. But then you look back in those days, in that era here, Arcel, you had so many great fighters around, but they were great trainers at the same time. And now, like you said, the trainers maybe have to be trained. You get some good trainers, a handful of good trainers out there, and but I think that the trainers have to develop a little bit more skills themselves to raise the bar for the fighters. I mean, I myself, as a referee, I see some of the fighters in the ring, and I say to myself, you know, they're fighting for the championship, and I said, you know, at the championship level, I'm surprised to see some of those fighters that make the mistakes they make, because I said, you know, maybe the trainers are not training them right, or maybe the fighters are not listening. Maybe they just can't seem to pick up where the trainers are trying to direct them. And I don't know, so it could be a combination of both.
Yeah, I
you know?
think so.
Fighters sometimes they're not dedicated. Like back in the days when you and I were fighting, we would train every single day of the week, maybe take off on a Sunday and do a little road work on Sunday. But as soon as we fought Saturday night, Monday morning, we were where?
Back in the gym.
Back in the gym. You see, today they fight and they take off for 5 or 6 months. They put on 20, 30 pounds and they come back and they having difficulties trying to get to that weight, that the regular fighting weight, they're fluctuating from 140 pounds to 160, 165, then they try to come back to 140, and that can really hurt a fighter because you get weak, and then your reflexes are gone, your stamina is no longer there. But when you were fighting, how many miles did you run a day?
Well, my average road work about 7 miles a day.
7 miles a day. How many days a week?
I run 6 days a week.
6 days a week. And you kept your weight. What was your average weight around?
My average weight was like 225. I fought at 210. So I had 15 pounds take off on training. So my whole career, my average weight, first weight, maybe 3 or 4, 5 pounds. That's it. I mean, at the end of my career, I probably 230 at the end before I started fighting. Trained back down about 210.
Okay, so would you say that you fought roughly about close to 20 years in your professional career?
Well, not really. I took some time off in between.
Okay.
I fought 10 years. I took off a few years. It kept calling to come out of retirement for certain fights. All these fighting his last fight. He needs you on the show. So I'll be a nice person. I come out of retirement. So I think when I retired after 10 years, I took off 3 or 4, 5 years maybe, and I came out and retired about 2 or 3 times like that. Okay,
now when you were fighting, what kind of a boxer were you? Were you a boxer, puncher combination, or what style did you have? A lot of the young folks out there don't remember you from way back in the days when you still look like you're back in the days. You still look sharp, young. But what was your style like? Was you like a good jabber, right hand combination? Was you boxing, bobbing, weaving? What was your style?
Well, I was definitely just a puncher.
A puncher.
I was definitely a puncher. I wasn't a boxer. I had great power. I grew up on the farm, on the bales of hay, chopping trees. Back in the leg muscle where power came from.
Yeah, how about your defense? Your defense, okay.
Well, I knock them out. No need defense.
Very good, very good, very good. Well, Ernie, it really is an honor having you here in Las Vegas and here in my gym here in Las Vegas. This is a place where I like to bring my referees and kind of basically train them, give them, I do my seminars here, and of course bring some of the greats to interview for our viewers out there who are so happy to know that and to hear a guy like Ernie Shavers still around, very sharp, and still loves the boxing and in the sport. And what can I tell you? I mean, boxing has been our life.
Yes. I tell young fighters, if you get in the fight game, eat, sleep, and live it 24 hours a day. You can't drink, no smoke, no drugs, no women time to fight. If you do, you're not going to make it.
Okay, so is that a good advice that you give out to these young fighters that are listening out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to get plenty of rest, drink water, lots of water, leave soda alone, especially alcohol, or smoke, leave drugs alone, leave the women alone, close to fight time. Right. At least 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's why you go away to a camp.
Yeah.
So you won't be tempted to do the wrong things, because if you make a mistake, you can get hit with a good shot, and your legs are gone, and psychologically you're thinking, I did something wrong, and you're afraid that by you cheating and not training the proper way, you're gonna lose a fight. You can get knocked out, and psychologically that works on fighters,
Well, Joe, I'm so glad I had good trainers that taught me that. Day one, they set me down and told me exactly what to do. I did it. I had a family to take care of, so I couldn't afford to make mistakes. When I started, I had 3 daughters and a wife, so I had a family to take care of. I couldn't afford to make mistakes, so I trained hard. I retired from my job at General Motors, so my livelihood came from the fight money. So I had to win, so I did.
Well, guys, you heard it there from none other than the great Ernie Acorn Shavers, the hardest hitting heavyweight of all times. Champ, you're still our champ. Keep up the good work. And look at our fist, buddy. Look at our fist. What a fist, what a punch. Ernie Shavers. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. You're real sharp, man. You're really sharp.